going on, everyone? Daniel Rodriguez here, and welcome to my Ravens Home spoiler review for Season 1, Episode 4. If I'm not mistaken, we are on Episode 4, titled The Bearer of Dad News. Thank you so much for joining me. As you usually know, hopefully if you guys are used to the channel already, I do a recap and then give you my pros, cons, and final score. If you're new to the channel, that's how I do things. And if you're new, I review a bunch of whole other different TV shows as well, man. A slew of different things, not just this Disney Channel show, which is my favorite Disney Channel show as of so far right now for the year, but as well I review shows like, and upcoming shows like *Halt and Catch Fire*, *The Last Ship*, *The Strain*. We're going to do Season 1 *Stranger Things*, *Iron Fist*, and *The Defenders*. So get ready. Thank you again. Let's go. So we begin the episode with Raven and her family and Chelsea and her son trying to throw a surprise party for Devon, who is Raven's kid's father, her ex-husband. So he ends up surprising them, sneaks in through the window or such, and he's going away. I believe they live in Chicago. Maybe I'm wrong, but he lives somewhere in Chicago. And he's heading off to Dallas, Texas to be the top weatherman there, like the main weatherman, which is very exciting. So job, he has to move away and such, go very far away. He's not going to be around. Good thing there's a thing called Skype and all that, but he won't physically have his presence there. So anyway, they have him a surprise party. He gives them back their stuffed animal to the kids, Admiral Stuffles or whatever it is, stuffed animal and such. Now this is where we get into Chelsea's story and then Raven's story. Chelsea, she ends up actually throwing the box away that had the stuffed animal in there, of the stuffed bear, and she has her and her son try to go look for it in the trash. They find it, but she ends up falling in the trash, finding a rat, and the bear gets decapitated. So they're going to need to find an alternate bear, which they find out it's at a circus. A local circus is where they want it, at one of the piers, and that's where they're going to go get a replacement for Admiral Stuffle. And then with that, Raven, the kids are she has a vision of them being a little bit depressed and such, and kind of very sad that their dad's gone, and they feel like it's never going to be the same. So she tries to fill in the dad's shoes. She doesn't like watching horror films, but they used to watch horror films together, so she's going to end up watching horror films with them. She don't like chili. She don't like eating the hot chili. She's going to eat the hot chili just for them to be happy. So all this stuff ends up happening. She watches Evil Elves 3 and such, and all together, man, they end up going to a pier at the end of the episode, doing a ride where they go way up to the sky. It was so ridiculously high. It was horrible. And they end up just having a nice little family moment talk. And she's ready to go down, of course, and while that, Chelsea ends up stealing a bear from one of the vendors and such, since he was cheating them at the game. That was her son's plan, to end up just going and running, and they ended up getting the bear. And at the end of the episode, everyone's reunited in the apartment, and all of a sudden, she brings out the stuffed bear, the kids grab it, he ends up tearing the head off, and they all have a quick laugh about it. Now on to the pros and cons. So far, every single episode of Raven's Home has been funny and entertaining to me. I really do enjoy these characters, and I enjoy the different storylines that have been going on over the past different weeks, and the different problems and obstacles that Raven's family has to go and go over these problems, get past these problems. And definitely, I think my favorite part out of this whole episode is Chelsea and her son. And it's really, the whole carnival scene, I think, is really where they shine the most. And not only Raven, when she did her dance, and this was towards the beginning of the episode, or this was before the first commercial or such, where she goes to her kids, and she ends up saying, hey, you know what, we're going to have a dad weekend, and then she starts doing the dance. She's dancing her way out to the door, and she's shaking it, man. It's funny, man. And all of a sudden, you see the daughter, I don't know the actress's name, but she's laughing. And it's a genuine laugh. It's a laugh of just, not the character, but just the actress herself laughing at Raven. And that's something that it's not something where it's just like action. It was just catching her laugh like that. So I really enjoyed the little moments like that. Plus Raven, she's going back to her old crazy self in this episode. Man, she was wild at certain parts, and that's what I loved about That's So Raven. I think a lot of people love that about That's What Raven-Symoné did the best, was not only having this relatable teenage character going through high school and these visions and such, but it just, I like how this episode didn't heavily focus so much on, or so far the series, yeah, it has the visions and such, but it doesn't, I feel like the That's a Raven focused way more on visions than what this is really focusing on. Is just more of the family aspect of it. And their struggles, and continuing this story week to week to week to week, and seeing, okay, now the dad's gone, will be a while till we see him again, and all these little things again that are continuous, and keeping a continuity to it. So I like that a lot. Again, the genuine reaction of the daughter. Chelsea's son, he's absolutely brilliant. He's my favorite character so far on the show. I like all the characters, but he's my favorite one so far. And when I think about it, there's not really anything bad I want to say about this episode. Like, not at all. I can't think of anything that I would really pull apart from this episode. And honestly, I don't know what episode's my favorite out of the 4 or 5 episodes that have aired so far. I don't know what to say, oh, this is my favorite one, because I've enjoyed all the episodes, and I would watch all the episodes again. Because they're quick. We're 23 minutes without the commercials and such. I mean, they're very quick episodes. They're very enjoyable. Again, even Devon, and I like when he's leaving, and he tries, I think, to get a quick little kiss from Raven, but she's like, "Goodbye, Devon," going back into the room and such. And the thing is, I noticed they didn't have the girl across the apartment, the other friend of the kids. The Brooklyn type of talk and everything, that type of girl. She wasn't in there this episode, and I was just thinking to myself, like, okay, they actually didn't use her this episode. She's not a bad actress at all. I think she's okay. She's an okay character. She has her ups and she has her downs. She could be annoying. She could be very fun. But noticing she wasn't even in this episode nor mentioned, it was like, okay, now I can picture now if she wasn't even in the show in a sense. I think she's a good add-on in a sense, but nothing that holds the show together. It's more of just Raven and Chelsea and her family. Before I give my final grade for this episode, the usual Disney Channel way, the usual Raven or any character. If you remember, like Life with Derek or I can't think right now. It's very late. But Life with Derek, Phil of the Future, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, even Nickelodeon, Drake and Josh. I mean, all the stuff, when characters drink milk or something, or they drink water, or they drink something, and they're all just spitting it out, and the spit takes, or they're all like, they're going crazy. It happened again in this episode where she drinks that hot sauce by accident. She has her eyes burnt. She's screaming out loud. Many sitcoms have done that before, obviously, for years and years and years and years. But it was funny the way she reacted, looking down at the chili, smelling the chili, and then having her eyeliner or whatever, mascara, just all down. It's like it just burnt her eyes away. And she's like, I can't see, I'm chili blind. It was absolutely funny as heck. I guess I should say heck. But anyway, other than that, I can't say anything bad about this episode. If was there something wrong and I found something wrong about it, I would say it. But there's nothing really. I think it was well paced. You had the dad stuff. You had her trying to impress the kids again. She saw the horror film, and then by the time they were at the carnival or the little pier, and other than that, it was such a fine episode. It was an entertaining episode yet again. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am going to give this episode of Raven's Home an A-. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. I really do appreciate all of you, and I will see you next week for more Raven's Home. Till next time.